Welcome to I Love My HBCU ? The podcast where we express our undeniable love for HBCUs, but where we are also not afraid to address a few tough questions. So, sit back, learn a little, love a lot, and rep your HBCU.
All right, welcome to this week's episode of I Love My HBCU ? The podcast where we amplify amazing HBCU now and HBCU made conversations. And Lamont Morehead if you can't tell, he's got Miles College. And those who get to see him, he actually has Miles College on his television screen, just in case anybody was wondering who Lamont is repping for today. Lamont, welcome.
Thank you.
How are you today?
I'm great. Just enjoying the holidays. Glad to be home.
Nice.
It's been a challenging semester, so
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Lamont, where's home for you?
Home for me is Nashville, Tennessee.
Nashville, Tennessee. Lovely.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Lamont, I want to get right to how you define yourself, because when we got to read up a little bit about you, it was extremely heartwarming to hear you describe yourself as a non-traditional student with a second chance to do better than he did in high school. So you are a non-traditional college student. So tell us, no one's going to ask you for your age, because I know typically... So anyone watching, when I said, tell us, you saw his face go blank, like she better not ask me my age. I wasn't going to ask you your age. But tell us what it's like being a non-traditional student and what it means to be a non-traditional student for you.
So how it feels to be a non-traditional student is, for one, you're in a diverse world. So you got different generations of people, young adults that you share a campus with, and immediately being there, you're automatically the unspoken leader, right? So people automatically gravitate to you, and they just give you that. Okay, we know you're um, wiser than us. What are some jewels you can share and things like that? Also, being a non-traditional student to me it was challenging, I'll say, because like I said, I didn't come straight out of high school. I took gap years, dealt with a lot of life-changing experiences that I had to overcome. So when I mentioned that, it's definitely uh, dear to my heart that I was able to come back to college and recenter myself, realign myself with my goals to further my education.
I love it. I love it. So, if I'm hearing you correctly, and I always welcome people to correct me because I don't want to get this wrong, but if I'm hearing you correctly, you not going to college directly from high school it doesn't sound like it was a choice. It sounds as if so I normally promote that everybody should take a gap year, but it sounds as if your gap year was kind of imposed upon you, where you had to take the gap year and not
Yes.
because you wanted to take the gap year. And there's a difference, right, between one choosing to take the gap year and then exploring the things they want to explore, and then life making them take the gap year.
Correct.
Did you feel that something was missing? And let me tell you why I'm asking that question. We spoke not too long ago to another guest, and when we asked them how they made their college journey selection, they had noted that, well, that was the next step after high school. So I'm assuming that for you too, that was the next step after high school. Did you feel then that when that next step didn't happen, you were missing out on something?
Yes, and when that next step didn't happen for me, I'm natural with adapting to my environments and situations and circumstances. So Just due to some family issues and some personal issues, I wasn't able to maximize and leverage the scholarships I had for being a student athlete in high school. I wasn't the greatest student in high school, and I feel like with those situations happening to me, it gave me time to, value the education once I was back in the space I need to be in, and also understanding like without the education that I'm attaining now, I can't get as far as I'm getting right now, and I understand that now more than I did then. So when it was going on, I really didn't dawn too much about it until later on, but it was always something that I said I was going to college, I was going to finish school, and I wanted to be a CEO of a company. Well, within those gap years, I was able to start a company. It was a small business, a food truck. But what I learned in the midst of that experience was that I was missing something, like you stated, and it was the extra education that I needed to really succeed with that business.
You mentioned food trucks or a food truck, and I know from the research that we've done that you are passionate about food insecurities, and that is absolutely a subject matter that is near and dear, at least based on my observation, near and dear to the hearts of a lot of students at HBCUs, even my academic home. Um, Talk about that a little bit, if you don't mind. How the impact of food insecurity, or what the impact of food insecurity has, and how somebody like you, who's chosen that to be his pathway, is trying to address that.
So, growing up, I'm not from a wealthy neighborhood or a wealthy family, nothing like that. So, growing up, I had issues with food insecurities, as a child. So, as I got older, and now that I'm in college, and I'm actually seeing, okay, well, food insecurities can take a toll on a person's well being and how they function. So seeing my peers that go without food, or our calf closes at 7 and everything around us normally closes around 9 o'clock, there's no food available. So, and having to get up at 8 o'clock in the morning for a class, or if you're a student athlete, having to get up at 4 a.m. for practice, that doesn't sit well with an empty stomach. So, this summer, June and July, I was I helped ideal a student life and engagement pilot of Freedom School, which it helped students from the ages of kindergarten to 12th grade continue their education throughout the summer, because statistics show that what they learn throughout the year, they lose a good amount of that during the summer. So that's what Freedom School was about. But my ultimate role in Freedom School was to teach the importance of healthy eating and healthy lifestyles, which led me to No Kid Hungry. I was a student ambassador for the grant program, and I started a community garden not only for the students that was in our Freedom School program, but also for our community, because my college, the home of Southern Beauty, Miles College, sits in a food desert, basically. And what I was able to do with the community garden was provide not only fresh produce for the community, but also I was able to give back to my community and the children that I was helping and teaching about healthy eating and healthy lifestyles.
I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. I absolutely, well, how could you not? Go ahead. You were about to
Yeah.
say something. Go ahead.
I w- the but the twisting part about that was that I was slated to go to Virginia for an internship to further my major and what I was trying to do in my career after college. So God has an amazing way of getting what He wants, right? So even though that was my plan, I was, I'm ready to go to Virginia, do what I was gonna do, be around all of these corporate execs and things like that. God had another plan for me, which he's always keeping me right where I need to be at the right times. Um, I'm also a student minister, so it kind of played hand in hand as well for me. So I like to tell people that my life is very unique and very God driven, and so that's one thing that I try to tell people, that it just kind of happened,
I
and I
love
just
it.
went with it.
I love it. So what I love the most about what I'm hearing is there have not been any mistakes. So even though you might have felt that you missed out by not
Mhm.
going directly from high school to college, by the time I hear your story and by the time the world hears your story, now we know, hindsight being 2020, there really are no mistakes. You are where you're supposed to be at that time, in that space, based on what you need, even though you might not necessarily know at that time that that's what you need. And for all the things that you're impacting now, it sounds as if, honestly, down to you being this non-traditional student who people tend to look at, I'm not going to call you an old head, but those that people tend to look at, I'm so silly, but those that people tend to look at for the guidance that you mentioned earlier on, you needed to go through some of the things that you went through in order to have that
Correct.
kind of presence of mind for people. All right, so Lamont, I'm going to shift gears ever so slightly. I want to bless you with our rapid fire segment. Our rapid fire segment, I'm going to throw as many. Don't look nervous. Don't look nervous. Don't look nervous. Listen, people need to be watching us on YouTube as much as they're listening to us, because these facial expressions that I get from our guests are literally amazing. He looked like, oh Lord, have mercy. No, 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 do not get nervous. They are fun, rapid fire questions that I'm going to throw at
Okay.
you. Give me short answers to them as much as possible. 67 seconds are going to go on the clock at the end of the first question. Are you ready?
Already.
He's like, I'm ready. Okay, I love it. Okay, Lamont, we're going to start easy. Describe yourself in 3 words.
Humble, self-driven, and ambitious.
Humble, self-driven, ambitious. I love it. Lamont, you're at your college graduation. Who do you want as your commencement speaker?
Young Jeezy.
Ooh, okay. This makes this next question really good, okay? What is the song that you would say marks your college career? Sorry, your college matriculation so far.
Um, Dang. I would say Rod Wave already won.
Say that again.
Rod Wave already won. It's called.
Rod Wave already won. Got it. Already won. Absolutely. Ooh, what's your unpopular? What is your unpopular opinion about your HBCU?
My unpopular opinion would be that we're the underdogs. Like
The
everywhere
underdog.
I've been as a leader, we walk into the room as the unspoken underdogs.
Unspoken underdogs. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was just told that the time's up, but I'm going to take the liberty to ask you 2 more questions, actually. 2 more. Shout out your favorite professor or administrator at Miles College.
Ah, my favorite administrator, I would say, oh man, I couldn't just shout out one.
I kind of felt that that's why you were laughing, because you're like, listen, I can't just pick
Yeah, I
one.
would say, the one that got me to Miles College, Dean Parker.
Let's go with Dean Parker.
Yeah,
Let's go with Dean Parker. I think the others will be okay hearing
yeah,
the reason why. that Dean Parker got you to Miles College. So let's go with Dean Parker. The second question that I want us to end, even though the rapid fire segment is actually over, but I want us to end the rapid fire with is, what's the best meal at your HBCU?
Fried Chicken Wednesday.
Fried Chicken Wednesdays. Okay,
Yeah.
Fried Chicken Wednesdays wins again, guys. Okay, Lamont. Anyone that's been listening from the very beginning knows that you're a non-traditional student, so your pathway is a little different than most with regards to how you got to Miles College, but still, there's so many HBCUs that you could have picked from in the country. Especially as a non-traditional student, there's more awareness, I think, of the existence of the HBCUs, both the small ones as well as the big ones. Tell us your college selection journey. How did you decide on Miles College?
Okay. So as I stated, God is always in the midst of my life. And while being here in Nashville, Tennessee, we have Tennessee State University, we have Fisk University. Those two colleges was the first ones that I really reached out to. And I'm really big on energy and, environment. So when I went to the campus of TSU, I was trying to find my way around. I was asking people, they were brushing me off, and it just was not working. So I said, "Nah, I'm not supposed to be here. This is not the college for me."
Mm.
So I go to Fisk University, and I'm trying to find my way around, trying to get admissions and stuff in order. It was always some constant chaos in the midst of trying to get into Fisk University as well.
Wow.
So Dean Parker, which was also my pastor and my mentor,
Okay.
I was invited to participate in this leadership institute that he had that was going to Miles College.
Okay.
So upon going there, we was also there on a spiritual discernment venture as well. So as I'm riding into Birmingham, Alabama, on the way to Fairfield, Alabama, I had this notion in my spirit that says this is where you're going to be. And I got to the campus, and it just felt like home. And that was before I even applied or even toured the campus. So once I got there and was participating in the leadership institution, I had met the the dean of student life in chapel at the time was Reverend Larry Beatty, and he sat me down and told me, "What are you doing right now?" And I told him, and he said, "Well, why don't you come on to Miles College? And once you finish, we're going to make sure you go back and be that CEO of that very company," right? So, well, if I fast forward, I end up getting a tour. I filled out the application. I was admitted right then, and I started at Miles College as an online student in fall of 2020. And here I am a couple of months away from May 4th and graduation.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Lamont, there's so much in what you said, right? But I want to draw on two things. Home, home. The feeling, home. And I also want to draw on systems and organization and things being fluid.
Yeah.
And we are going at I Love My HBCU podcast. We're going to start sounding like a broken record soon. When we start reminding everybody, and by everybody I do mean everybody in the HBCU world, how important it is to get those systems right, and how important it is to get the organizational flow right when a person is interested in attending our colleges and we're not necessarily meeting them with such organizational flow. I'm going to park that aside for 1 second, or
Okay.
for this whole conversation, and talk about the home feel that you mentioned. And if you don't mind, especially as a Southerner, you had choices. And typically, when those of us who were not raised in the South think of the South, we think everybody is hospitable and welcoming. And you just described not necessarily feeling that welcome at two institutions that you actually visited before you ended up at Miles College, where you felt embraced and at home. Beyond Dean Parker, what exactly is it about Miles College that made you feel so much at home within those very short few moments?
I would say just how fellow Malians interact with each other. And if you are a stranger, you won't be a stranger before you leave. Because Miles has this way of calling you and making you family right when you enter the campus. Um, and everybody there is always, trying to help you in some type of way, regardless of where you stand with the college or the person. Um, I would also say everybody's going to be themselves. That's what it was. Even the administrators, when I got there, they were professional, but they were human professionals, and it made me feel like, okay, they don't feel like I'm here to them, right? But it was a level of I and I, like you are us and we are you. So when we say we are Miles College, that's what it means.
I love it.
So,
Miles College, and I wanna touch on something a little sticky. Um, he's like, sure, go there. Um, Miles College is considered a smaller HBCU, yes,
yes.
and I know you've heard it. Um, there are sometimes questions about the sustainability of smaller HBCUs. Share your thoughts on that. Share your thoughts, and you can go anywhere you want to with it. Share your thoughts on that.
Well, I would say first, starting with the credibility of the smaller colleges. We were just granted 10 more years of accreditation. So I say the stability starts with being an accredited college.
I love it.
So, and if we move into the financial side, I would say that our president, Bobby Knight, has did an amazing job of making sure that we continue to be financially stable and that we are continuously fed with um, funds to keep not only the college thriving, but the students that goes there thriving and the students that want to come to Miles College thriving.
I wrote I write things down a lot when my guests are talking because I don't want to forget how good your gems are. And you said stability starts with credibility. And that harkens back to the work that Miles College, as an administration and team, continue to put into making sure that size does not determine the sustainability, but the value proposition that Miles College has. Because I don't know if you've heard, but I get a lot, I'm in the room when a lot of conversations happen with
Mm-hmm.
regards to the small HBCUs, how much longer they're going to last, blah, 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 blah. You've heard those conversations as well. It's not just me, right?
Right.
Okay,
Correct.
okay. And normally, when I hear those conversations, I hear it being put only in the space of numbers. And numbers are important, enrollment numbers are important, all of that stuff. But I really, really like the way you've positioned it, whereby, yes, it has to be about numbers at some point in time. But how about it being credible? How about us being able to, how about us being able to look at what it is we're doing and others give a stamp of approval and say, oh Lord, look at what they're doing, guys. Look at what they're doing. I like that. I really do like that. What's your favorite tradition at Miles College?
My favorite tradition at Miles College would be, I think, the Vesper services that you have that actually stamps you as a Milean.
Okay.
Right. So it's a service that happens within the first week, which is Welcome Week, and it's basically like a blessing to you and your matriculation at Miles College. And
Nice.
typically because our school was founded by the Christian Methodist Episcopal Church, and each bishop of the CME Church has a district, and our district happens to be the fifth district in Miles College, and the bishop normally preaches the Vesper service. So it's always a humbling and pleasant experience seeing how the CME Church still has their hands on their jewel that they founded. You know, I
Yes.
think that's wonderful.
Um, a few episodes ago, a question was asked about are current students at
Mhm.
HBCUs upholding the traditions of their HBCUs? And I'll tell you what my take was, just to buy you a little bit of time, because you know what I'm going to ask you, but to
Okay.
buy you a little bit of time. My take on that question was no, I don't think they are upholding the traditions, but I also said I don't think it's their fault.
Mm,
So I'm going to stop there. I'm going to stop.
I love it.
I'm going to stop there and ask you what your opinion is on whether or not current HBCU students, and you can make this specific to Miles College if you want to, or you can take us as a group of HBCUs. Are they upholding the traditions that help build and make some of our institutions what they were? Go ahead.
I would say, as a whole, that we aren't holding those traditions the way they need to be held or were held, because most of the ones that help shape those traditions and keep them going aren't reaching back as much as they should to keep the traditions flowing. Which I say this because during homecoming at Miles, which we see homecoming 2023, I am the UNCF Pre-Alumni Council President. And what I do is bridge the gap between the alumni and the pre-alumni, which are the current students. So this year, and I had a twofold. I'm on SGA as well, so I was able to work this event in where the alumni of the college will come back and do a panel style discussion and talk about those traditions, right, and help reset or um, revitalize the traditions of the campus that we don't see as much as we should. So I would say that statement is true, but it's more of we don't know, we don't see, right? And over the time, especially during COVID, those traditions had to die off because of what we were facing. So the students that came in within the COVID era don't know nothing about the traditions.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
the ones that finally come
Hmm.
back to homecoming and they're like, whoa, we don't do this here, whoa, we don't do that there. Well, they didn't know that's
Hmm.
what's supposed to go
Hmm.
on. So now it's just time to come back and reestablish those traditions, show them how it's done. That's my
Wow.
take on it.
No, that was that. So you silenced me. That was powerful. I remember when most institutions resumed from COVID, there were a lot of welcome back engagements, right? So either welcome back party, welcome back, what's it called? Gosh, Tosin, I'm drawing a blank. What's it when you cheer for people? Pep rally. Oh Lord, welcome back pep rallies, and so on and so forth. And again, hindsight is 2020. But when you talked about that gap, right? That whether we like it or not, COVID created. And for many of us, we challenge what the bounce back has been like, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then in our challenging of what the bounce back has been like, we also wonder whether or not we have spent as much time on all angles. So it sounds as if we've paid a lot of attention to the academic bounce back, which is very necessary.
Correct.
But
Yeah.
have we paid enough attention to the other bounce backs that are necessary? And listening to your response, and especially when you said that, when you gave the example of when there's an interaction of, well, why do they do that? And well, they don't know that they don't do that over here. That line that you used really touched me, because it's like, if I don't have my mother's recipe, right, for the best I'll go with collard greens, right?
Right.
And I
I
just
love
make
collard
my
greens.
he loves I picked the right one, right? If I don't have my mother's recipe for the best collard greens and I'm
Yeah.
making it based on what I think I know, based on taste, and I present it to you, Lamont, as, oh my gosh, these are my mother's collard greens, and then my mother tasted and said, that's a lie. Those are not my collard greens. And it's going to be based on me not knowing what her recipe was in order to actually carry it on. And I don't think we've paid attention to the recipe as much, based on your response.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's correct. So that's why I try so hard as a student leader to stay connected with the alumni and also help them understand, because their main like questions now are how do we re-engage with them?
Yes.
Well, just come.
Come.
It's your presence. That's all it
Yeah.
takes.
Yeah.
Some consistency, because the era and the gap that we faced where we were closed off, we were isolated, and believe it or not, it's made us so untrustworthy of people that it's like, okay, oh, so it's like the more you show your face, the more that you come and be genuine. And
Can I say something, Lamont? Because if anyone who pays attention to this show, we have HBCU now students, HBCU made alumni as guests on the show, and then HBCU Connect, those who don't belong in either category but love what we do here at HBCUs. When I speak to HBCU made, i.e., the alumni, I hear many of them say, for those who don't know how, for those who don't
Mhm.
know how. They say, we want to come, but we don't know how to come, meaning we don't know what you need us to do. So can I push back slightly, very slightly, Lamont?
Mhm.
And most people are going to be hearing this in 2024, even though we're recording it in 2023. But most people are going to hear this in 2024. As you are getting closer and closer to becoming HBCU made,
Uh-huh.
i.e., alumni, I want he's like excited, like, yes, almost there. Congratulations, it's on its way. I want you, especially in your current leadership role,
Mhm.
as a gift to Miles College, to start thinking about the specific dynamics of what that looks like. Because for some people, they don't truly always understand just come, because they may not necessarily feel that they're welcome. They may not necessarily feel that they're being useful, and they may not necessarily feel that simply their mere presence alone is enough. So there'll be those who get that, beautiful, but there's also going to be this large group that don't get that, and they're going to need the Lamonts of the world to kind of design for them what that looks like. So that's my homework assignment to you, Lamont, before we
Okay.
graduate. Okay. Lamont, we could talk forever, and I love this, but I've got a couple more things I want to tease out of you before we call it quits today. Finish this. Ooh, this is a good one for Lamont. Finish this sentence for me, Lamont. In 5 years, I will.
In 5 years, I will be graduated from Miles College. I would have obtained my master's degree in business administration or business analytics, and I will be in an entry level position at a Fortune 500 company.
Okay, Fortune 500. Do you have any? Let's put it out there. Let's put it out there in the universe. Let's put it out there in the universe, Lamont. Give me top 3, because I want to visualize it with you. Give me top 3 of those Fortune 500 that you want to land at within the next 5 years.
Fortune 500, I wouldn't mind being at J.P. Morgan Chase.
J.P. Morgan.
I wouldn't mind being at
I can go with top 1 if you don't have the top 3.
Yeah, because that's really what my heart.
Your eyes are on JP Morgan. We're going to leave it at top 1. We're going to leave it at top 1 as opposed to top 3, and I'm okay with that. Lamont, before we end this episode and say goodbye, is there something that we have not covered that you would love to bless the audience with, that you're either excited about, that you just want to share with us?
I would say that I don't know if because I've been to this conference once as a student leader, but I do feel like the NASAP conference, I don't know if you heard of it. If you haven't, please do your research. HBCUs is very important that you get your student leaders to the NASAP conference. I say that because I went last year and I met some amazing other HBCU student leaders, and we're still close friends to this day. I've witnessed a lot of them graduate in recent months, and I say that having us all together gave me one eye opener, which means that we are one family. We get into this hype around the competition and being rival schools, and it goes too far sometimes. But the one thing that I want you to take away from this is that we are HBCUs, and we are the future. Okay, so that's one thing that I want to leave with everyone.
Okay. So that's a perfect segue for my actual last question for you.
Okay.
In one word, and I think you just gave us a short phrase, but I'm still going to press it. In one word or short phrase, why do you love HBCUs, Lamont?
The community.
The community. I'll take it. Lamont, this has been an exciting conversation for me. I hope you have had a good time. I also hope, thank you. I also hope that anyone listening to the sound of my voice sounds horrible right now for those who normally hear me, and those watching have also enjoyed Lamont, HBCU student, current student, graduating senior at Miles College, and that you're going to send him a lot of energy and visualize with him that JP Morgan and Chase Fortune 500 position that he is looking forward to within the next 5 years. I also hope that I have earned the pleasure of all of you subscribing to I Love My HBCU ? And liking this episode. Yours in HBCU love. See you next episode. Lamont, thank you.
Thank you.
You've been listening to I Love My HBCU ? Let's keep the conversation going as we share our stories and encourage more practical support of HBCUs whilst of course holding each other accountable. Don't forget to follow and subscribe for the latest episodes. Until next time, love and lift your HBCU.